Hello and welcome back to Only Stupid Answers. This is the show where we answer your questions about movies, TV shows, comic books, Avengers Endgame. That's right, this is another installment of OSA Rewind where we go back and revisit a previous episode. This week I reached back into the vault and pulled out our Avengers Endgame review. Why did I do that? Well, considering Fantastic Four just came out and Avengers Doomsday is right over the horizon, I thought now would be a good time to revisit what Sam and I thought right as Avengers Endgame came out. And as a special bonus, we had a guest on that episode, the wonderful Hector Navarro. And if you've enjoyed the episodes where Hector's come on and Roxy and I have discussed with him whether Marvel should reboot, not reboot, it turns out the seeds of those debates were planted here in this episode as we speculate out where the MCU could have gone. I went back and revisited this episode, and it's very interesting, some of the questions and theories that we throw out there, knowing where the MCU has gone since. So I hope you enjoy going down memory lane as much as I did. Now on with the episode.
Oh, hey there, boys and girls. Welcome to Only Stupid Answers, the best dang podcast you could put your moist little ears into. Did I mess up in the beginning? Sure did, but don't matter because, gang, we're at the end.
Of everything.
There you go. End of it all. We worked so hard, specifically Kayla Marie, Caitlin Conway, Maggie Whitmer, Super Mike Bootstrong, Wendy, SJ Shark.
Thank you.
Those are coming to some of the patrons.
Y'all are watching live on patreon.com/onlystupidanswers. The boy that just introduced us is Sam Basher. I'm DJ Wooldridge, but with us, we have a very special guest today.
Mr. Hector Navarro. How you doing? Thank you for joining us.
I'm so great. Thank you guys so much for having me. This is one of my favorite things to do, is to come hang out with you guys.
Thanks, man.
You guys are great. And I am stoked to be here to talk about the movie that we're going to talk about.
Yes.
It's a very momentous occasion. And thank you to all of the patrons. I love patrons. Patrons are good people. So thank you guys for supporting these boys.
That's pretty. It keeps the lights on this little girl. Really quick. So you're over at Hyper Heroes.
Yeah.
You're over at Nerdist. You're at DC Daily. What else you at?
I have a new show coming out on television.
Yes, you do.
Which is insane.
With
Cameron Rice.
Yes.
Kelly Nugent. Vanessa Gritton. It's called El Rey Nation. And It's going to be Thursday nights at 10:30. And we shot a couple episodes. They're in the can, as they say. And we're going to be doing more. And it's really fun. And we just like geek out about stuff. And they have us do like fun stuff. And I think it's going to be really, really cool. So if you have a DVR, please set it to that. It would
give
be
it
cool.
some love.
Give it a little bit of love. And hopefully people like it. And hopefully it finds the people that want to find it. And it'll be real fun. But it's nutty that it's on television because I'm telling people and people are like, oh, I guess I got to get cable. It was the opposite 10 years ago. It's like, hey, I'm on this internet thing. Like, oh, I don't have that. Okay, well, it's like a podcast. Oh, I don't know. It's on TV. Well, no. Okay, man. And now I'm telling people, hey, this thing's on TV. They're like, I don't have it.
I don't know what you're talking about.
I don't know where on Netflix I get that.
El Rey, check your local listings for El Rey. That's Robert Rodriguez's.
Correct.
Nice.
Correct. Director of Alita Battle Angel.
Yes.
That is what he did.
Also, From Dusk Till Dawn, which was a series on that channel for a while.
Yeah, less robots in that.
Yeah, there's a lot
less robots.
A lot less robots in that. Yeah.
But kick-ass women.
Yeah.
Still.
True.
Have you met Robert Rodriguez?
I have, but it was completely. It had nothing to do with this job.
Oh, okay.
It was completely random. When they hit me up to do this, I had happened to be on an amazing trip. I was in New Zealand. I got sent there by Nerdist.
Yeah.
They sent me there to cover the movie Alita Battle Angel.
There's so many humble brags in this right now.
It was like it was insane. It's such a beautiful country. It's so cool, and I'd never been there. I think it was the furthest I've traveled in the world. Yeah, probably. But the flight was like a red eye. So like they really give you a drink. They tell you like maybe watch one movie and then lights out. And then you go to sleep. You wake up and they're like, here's brekkie. We're almost there. Like it's pretty cool. But was down there, got an email like, hey, it's El Rey Nation. Would you be interested? And I was like, yeah, actually, I'm about to meet Robert to talk to him for 5 minutes to talk about this movie. And I had a chance to interview some of the cast and to see what, because they brought us there because Weta Digital is there.
Nice.
So we kind of got a tour of Weta to see how, to see what they contribute to film and its history. And it was bonkers. And then I took my own little Lord of the Rings tour, which was amazing, which is pretty cool. Only in Wellington, but there's still like a whole bunch of, I did not know this, but some very famous shots from Lord of the Rings were filmed at like their park, like a couple blocks from civilization. Like if you turn, when Frodo sees some stuff coming down the road, if you just like turn your head, you're like, oh, there's a city. Like
that's so cool.
Yeah, they just like filmed it at a park. It's great.
I'd love to. One, I'm jealous that you met Robert Rodriguez. Big fan of his.
He's great.
But also, if I didn't hate flying as much as I do, I'd love to go see New Zealand because it's like, I think I've mentioned this before, but it's like when people talk about Australia in the bush, it's like it's like a hellscape on Earth. Like literally everything out there wants to kill you. And then like New Zealand, the bush, it's like, oh, that looks amazing.
Yeah,
that looks
great.
like beautiful.
It's great. Highly recommend.
I'm very jealous. I'm very excited for you. How's DC Daily going for you? Because you guys are popping
great.
off over there.
We're popping off.
Yes,
straight
as they
up,
say.
straight up popping corn every single week. Boom,
sure.
boom, boom. Every day, episodes every day. Bam, bam. Fun.
With DC Daily, do you have like a focus? Because there's a lot. There's a big Brady bunch of you over there.
It depends. So right now, I mean, I specifically don't have a focus, but I've let my producers know, like, look, I love animation.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And I go to my DC Universe favorites list, and it's mostly animated shows because they've got most of them on there, and I love that stuff. And so every once in a while, like we recently rewatched Beware the Gray Ghost episode of Batman. You know what I mean? Where we're like, man, this holds up. So we got to geek out about that. But it's kind of cool. The focus right now is Doom Patrol because the show is currently like airing. So we're talking about that, but then we're also talking about some old Doom Patrol comics, which is great.
Yeah.
Next focus is going to be Swamp Thing, and I just started reading for the first time Alan Moore Swamp Thing, and it like blew my mind. I was like, so, because I knew that I had never read it, and then when I sort of figured out what our schedule is, I'm like, great, I'm going to be reading it before the James Wan produced show comes out, and was so excited. Finally sat down to read it like last week, and it was like mind blowing. And I'm like, dude, I can't wait for this show. It's going to be great. So that it's the focus kind of changes depending on, like, when Young Justice comes back. I'm sure we're going to focus on not just that cartoon show, but like Young Justice comics and Young Justice, characters or whatever. So
Judas contract, maybe.
Maybe
getting little
Titans,
teasers.
maybe. Yeah, that's true.
Mm-hmm. We talked about this on like different shows that we do for like Patreon and whatnot, but like Cyborg's getting his due over on DC Universe, and it's so cool.
It's graphic.
Yeah, it's graphic, but in Doom Patrol, it's the coolest they've ever seen him, and practically speaking, like he has some of the best like costume, and the way they're bringing him to life is really impressive.
But in Young Justice, he's blowing my mind because I've never loved in the comic books his connection to like Mother Box technology, that sort of shortcut that they did in 2011 with the New 52. But then in Young Justice, they're using it to where I'm like, oh, look at what it's doing to the story.
It's so effective.
Oh, look at what it's doing to Victor Stone and his like journey. I'm like, this is awesome. But that show is just like such a great example of what we're talking about today too, where it's like adapt the history of this character without doing it page for page, panel for panel.
Yeah.
But like still knowing what to leave on the page and kind of what to update. Young Justice is amazing at that. And another example is we just watched Justice League versus the Fatal Five, the direct-to-video that just came out. If you guys haven't had a chance to see it, it's great. But they paired like two characters from the comics that have never. It was Jessica Cruz and Starboy.
Yeah.
And like they've never interacted, but then with their sort of like personality and their history and their backgrounds, it was such a great pairing. I'm like, this is a great adaptation because this is one of those I never would have thought of this. And you watch it and it feels so true to the comics and their histories while still being like, here's this brand new story we're telling. You're not going to know what's going to happen. And it was awesome.
Yep.
Very cool. I started watching the first couple minutes and it's open with like the Legion stuff. And I'm like, okay, I'm on board with this. Yeah. Also, it's like, I like this animation more than the regular Justice League, whatever the other animation style they have for their directed DVD movies.
Which is very, I don't want to say anime inspired, but like it feels more like, because again, we're used to the Bruce Timm verse. Mm-hmm. We're used to growing up with that, which was simplified and stylistic for a reason so that you have very fluid animation.
Yeah.
The new style for some of the direct-to-video stuff with like Justice League War until now are definitely more like limited animation, and not in a bad way, coming from overseas. It looks like it's animated by a Korean or Korean animation studio or Japanese animation studio, and it makes for like great sort of frames, but sometimes the movement is not as just because like it's a lot of muscles on Aquaman, like we really gotta, you know what I mean, versus like Justice League versus the Fatal Five, Batman is made up of like 12 lines, like it's very simplistic.
Shoulders get bigger when they get stronger. That's all you gotta do.
That's it.
That's something I remember when that sensational Spider-Man cartoon was coming out. People were criticizing the animation because it was more simplified, and then you watch the show and how it moved. And of course it's Greg Weisman running the show, and so the writing's amazing, the adaptation is amazing, and it was like, oh, this is great.
Well, I think that's a pretty good segue because you said Spider-Man, and he's a Marvel character. By the way, listeners, Hector has a Marvel Studios hat on right now, and I'm very jealous. It looks snazzy as hell.
It's probably worn by Kevin Feige himself.
Probably.
Yeah, I decked him, dude. I'm like, give me that hat.
Give me that hat, boy.
He couldn't take a punch.
Yeah, instead of thanking him for everything, I'm like, oh, Mr. Feige, bam!
Yeah.
Give me that hat.
Give me that hat.
It was right when he got his own little Walk of Fame thing, and so he's got cement on his hands. You punch him in the face, he can't do anything. Classic. But yes, we're going to talk about Avengers Endgame. So kicking it off, Sometimes we talk about what we're into this week, but
This
we got to get into this is what we're into from now until maybe August. Hector, we did our spoiler-free review as soon as the embargo went up on Tuesday.
You can find that at youtube.com/mightbeawesome.
We actually had a lot of fun. We had a friend in the office. We basically all saw except for one person, and that made us. I felt bad that he couldn't come, but we just couldn't get a ticket. So he sat between us when we did the review to make sure we stayed true to not saying anything.
Yeah.
And a very specific criticism that we had was very hard to articulate.
It was very spoilery, but we got around it.
Yeah. So it's going to be exciting to hop into spoilers, and if you're a listener, you should know that we're going to do that. But to kick it off, let's do spoiler-free thoughts from Hector, and we'll get into spoilers. So overall, you walk out of this theater, what are you thinking?
Like I mentioned, Young Justice. This movie to me is maybe the most perfect example, of adapting the comic books and being inspired by the comics while also telling a completely new story. I felt like while I was watching this is 50% like comic book stuff to be expected, and 50% this is Marvel Studios sort of crafting their own original story and surprising you and going off of their own built-in mythology, which is different from the comics, which is great, and they were using that to their strength. And when I say that, I mean like their characters and and their story arcs and everything. This movie was really, really special to me, and I'm going to cherish it for a very long time. And it made me think about my life, and it feels like a victory lap while also like. It does feel like an ending to what started in Iron Man 1, which is 2008, which is 11 years ago, which is all this stuff I'm saying you're going to be hearing from multiple people over and over again. But like it made me go, yeah, these movies started and I was in my early 20s and now I'm in my early 30s. To me, the movie was more than just its own story and a movie. It really was like it had a sort of a meta narrative to me that I was kind of picking up on, and it felt like a thank you to the fans, basically. Fan service in the best way, while still really nailing the story that they set up with Infinity War and before that, where you're like, you gotta, what the heck happened in Infinity War? That was crazy. It told that story, but also it was like turning to the camera and going, Hector, I love you. Thank you. I love you. You're great. So that's a stupid summary, but that's my review of the movie, is that I felt great.
Kissed on the head.
Kissed on the head.
By the movie. That's a good description. I like
man.
It's a kiss goodnight from Robert Downey Jr. And the whole cast. No, agreed 100% through and through, because 2008.
You're going to make Hector and I feel old.
Yeah.
That's what's going to happen right now.
Is
what were you, 12? Shut up.
I was 14.
Ouch. Ouch. The age I was when Spider-Man 1 came out. Like, that's
100%.
I forget. Sam's your little baby.
Yeah,
I forget.
I am. And I can almost grow a full beard now, so it's confusing to people. But yeah, no, this is my first year of high school is when Iron Man came out, and that was
wow.
And it's growing up with this. It feels like and also because there's that big break in the middle before Iron Man 2, so it wasn't like all of high school was this. But some people that is like, and it's so cool that like my nephews are into this, and they're gonna revisit these movies forever, and it's gonna be something that we can talk about. And being able to watch this twice, especially we have to see it in IMAX a second time, it works. Like it's genius to make a movie like this. This isn't like Alfred Hitchcock. It's like making you rethink your whole life or whatever, or it's a mastery of like horror or something like that. But doing something like this it's a craft, and it's a skill, and it's talent, not just from the people who are portraying the characters, but from the writers and the visual effects artists and directors and the stage design. Everything about it shows that not only do people care about what they're making, is that they don't want to phone it in when it comes to what the end game. What they want with this is something that is the scale of the largest crossover event you could possibly see in a comic book. But guess what? Now global audiences have earned that, and they get to see this is why people read comics. And it's like, that doesn't mean people are going to read them. They're saying this is why.
It definitely
doesn't mean that definitely does not convert, but it does show that like this is maybe why you see comic fans get crazy excited about certain events, and they become so passionate because you all feel the same now.
Yeah, I've been seeing a lot of not to knock the people that were in their 30s and 40s and beyond when like this franchise started, because like, how much does your life change when you're going from 35 to 45? Like a good amount, but How much does your life change from 15 to 25? Huge.
Yeah.
It's massive. So I've been seeing a lot online of young people that were your age when Iron Man started and younger, really being like, no, I grew up with this. It's that Harry Potter thing for us. The books and movies were kind of advertised as like the movie event of a generation.
Yeah.
And the whole time I was thinking, I'm like, not me, but I'm glad for everybody else. This is great. But so many people grew up with Harry Potter, with the same age as him, the same age as those characters in those movies or in the books or whatever. And I've been seeing a lot of young people reflect on this franchise because of Endgame. That I'm like, oh yeah, like I haven't been thinking, I haven't been thinking about it in that way. So it's really cool that this movie is sort of asking me to like reflect. And I'm like, yeah, that's crazy. Yeah. That's been happening.
Yeah.
I have no idea how they were able to encapsulate 22 movies into one film.
Planning.
It's a lot of planning. Really careful planning. And you have to be smart with the moves because you can tank scenes pretty quick, but it doesn't do that in this movie. And I think that's pretty as vague as I can be. How did you feel?
I liked it. I liked it a lot. And it was good because I didn't really like Infinity War.
Really?
Yeah. Infinity War wasn't for me. I think Infinity War for me emphasized the stuff that I don't enjoy about. I don't think Marvel does the best. It's like a lot of big, muddy, messy, loud CG action sequences that aren't very, and some of the dialogue was clunky and it didn't click for me. It wasn't for me.
Do you think you'll feel differently now that you've seen effectively part 2? Like, have you gone back? You haven't gone back and rewatched it.
We're doing that tomorrow.
Yeah, we're doing that tomorrow. Not since Endgame, but I do think it was good setup for Endgame, which I did think focused on what Marvel has done tremendously well, which is focusing on its characters.
Yeah,
it's put its main characters first, and it gives them an opportunity. It really drills into your core cast of characters plus an Ant-Man. And a Nebula, and allows them to bounce off of each other, allows them to close their stories. And it's we're spoiler free, but it uses the supporting cast very effectively as well. And I think with that focus, and a lot of the action scenes are more personal. There's only the one big blockbuster number, and that one I think puts everything in Infinity War to shame.
It puts everything in cinema to shame. Come on.
it's nuts. And so I think by focusing on that, by focusing on those characters and spending the time with them, I really enjoyed that and appreciated that. And also props to them for doing something better than any event comic by letting it be an end.
Yeah.
Because ever since Iron Man 1, there's always been that teasing the next thing. Here's the next thing.
This is a thing.
And this is like, there are.
Yeah.
There's at this point, there's articles, there's no after credit scene.
Right.
And I think good.
Yeah.
Let this feel, and honestly, I know they're not going to stop because they want to keep making all the money in the world. But it's like, I'd kind of be fine if you were just done after this. Like if this was your series finale and you're out.
I would, other than I want other people to have a seat at the table. Other than I want a Shang-Chi movie that has like an Asian superhero.
There's a big chunk of this movie that's like 5 white guys, half of them named Chris, that are deciding the fate of the universe.
Yeah, exactly. And I would like other, I want a Latino superhero. And
what are you talking about?
I want more than just the one black guy and the one woman. Mm-hmm. So you're not wrong.
And
I feel so strongly about that, and I feel strongly about that with its core characters of And I want to get into talking about that because there's a specific thing in comic books that this movie takes a departure that I am so happy about. That is, we'll talk about it when we talk about it, but remind me because I want to talk about that.
With that, let's move right into spoilers in 3, 2, doink.
Well, when we gave our review, I think I was...
Oh, you want to rate it?
Yeah, I was like a solid, because we actually did it out of 10 for once. Mm-hmm. So it was like 9 out of 10.
I gave it 10 out of 10. Yeah. What'd you give it?
I can't do that because the movie on its own is an 8 out of 10. The movie is like a 7, 8 out of 10, for just of its own. But in the same thing that happened with Infinity War, I couldn't just like review that movie. Yeah. You can't look at it objectively. You don't live in a vacuum. I have to take into account everything that came before. Yeah. So it's getting harder and harder to like I can review Ant-Man and the Wasp as like I'm like it's like a 6. It's like a 5, 6 in there. It's fine.
Turns out it matters way more.
And I'm like, now did my score for Thor: The Dark World go up? I think it did.
Just like a notch.
I think it did. It's just like a notch. I'm like, oh, you know what? I notched it down in 2013 because I'm like, could have used more Rene Russo, and now I'm like, I think I'm good.
Yeah, I think I did all right.
They did all right.
Yeah.
So Avengers Endgame is not just Endgame. It's also 22 movies.
Yeah.
So I give it a 10 out of 10. Like,
Yeah.
But here's the thing that I wanted to bring up, and the thing that I am most excited about. This movie takes a definitive stance on one of these two options. Marvel Studios, owned by Disney, so Disney effectively was going to have to make this choice at some point. Are we going to allow these characters and these actors to age? And I'm not talking about the special aging that we saw at the end of the movie, but just like generally speaking.
Because again, we're in spoilers now.
We're in spoilers now.
Yeah.
I'm not talking about Steve. I'm talking about, are we going to let Tony Stark like age at the same rate as Robert Downey Jr., or are we going to keep pretending that Tony Stark, no matter what year it is, just like comic books that have a sliding timeline, specifically that's what Marvel has, are we going to keep pretending that Tony Stark is 40? Maybe a couple years ago he was 38. Maybe a couple years before then, 35. Maybe if you read the earliest Iron Man comics from 1963, he's kind of being treated as late 20s. Maybe. So how much does he really age? The first Spider-Man comics, he's 15.
Yeah.
Now, what is he, 28, 29? Maybe. So like 13 years of aging has happened from 1961. Is Marvel Disney going to do that? Are they going to keep pretending that characters Tony Stark Iron Man, Steve Rogers Captain America, Thor Odinson are still around and recast them? And give us a new Iron Man 4 10 years from now going, it's Bond, we got a new actor.
Yeah.
Or are they going to do what I'm so glad that they did? The stance they took was, no, we will never again recast Tony Stark. Will there be an Iron Man? Probably. Will that movie make a bunch of money 10 years from now? Yeah. Will it be Morgan Stark? Maybe. Will it be Rhodey? Maybe. Will it be Riri Williams? Maybe. Is the next Captain America movie going to be Sam Wilson? Maybe. And that to me makes me so happy, because that's the one cool thing and crappiest thing about big superhero comic book universes. DC has found a workaround with every couple of years they reboot it. But then it's a soft reboot, then they move things around, shift things around. Marvel has had a couple of minor soft reboots. Secret Wars, kind of afterwards, kind of, the Ultimate Universe is kind of absorbed, whatever, doesn't matter. But mostly they will still point to Fantastic Four in 1961 and go, that's the beginning of our story, of our soap opera. And whatever issue came out last week is part 7,804.
Yeah.
Like, that's technically what they've said. So their characters have been locked in time. So when you have momentous changes, Amadeus Cho is Hulk now? Whoa, crazy. That'll get erased.
Yeah.
Jane Foster is Thor? Awesome. Well, now it's Thor again. Thor Odinson. Now,
Still wish Bucky was Cap.
Yeah, Bucky was Cap for a little bit, and it's like, that was cool.
Yeah.
But I'm also kind of happy it's Sam now in the movies. Let me tell you why. Because even when Bucky was Cap, it always still felt like, this should kind of be a little temporary.
Yeah.
This is like, it's not for Bucky. He is going to be going back. Like, it made sense for him to go back to being Winter Soldier. But I still like that order of operations, right? That order of events. But even when Cap died, when he was killed at the end of Civil War, when he was shot, we all knew in a couple of years he's going to be back. And sure enough, he came back for Siege. Yeah. Like, a couple of years later or whatever.
He did. I did read that recently. Yeah, that's when he came back. What a weird one.
And it was cool, and those moments are great. But like, the MCU has given us those moments, kind of, especially at the end of Endgame when On Your Left happens and all these rings appear, and you're like, oh so my dope. God, it's the dopest. But now this franchise has taken the stance of, no, we're not going to just do the James Bond thing. We're not treating these characters like, oh, well, whatever. We'll just make another Batman movie. Who cares? Whatever. Who cares? What's the big deal? They're like, this is it. It was Chris Evans. He was Cap.
So you don't think 10 years from now, when the franchise is flagging a little bit, they'll be like, magic, and now Tony Stark is back, but it's this new actor.
Let me tell you why. Because even though 10 years seems like a long time, and we've gotten 22 movies out of them, like, think about how many stories per character. Compared to comics, it's a minuscule amount. It's a handful. Yeah. How many Steve Rogers stories did we get? One in World War II, part of where he fought aliens. One where he learned S.H.I.E.L.D. was Hydra. Yeah. Then he teamed up and fought robots. Yeah. And then he had to fight Iron Man. Mm-hmm. And then he fought Thanos. That's 6 stories over 10 years.
7 if you count the 2 movies as separate, Infinity War and Endgame.
Sure, yeah. 7, and then like cameos. But that's the best thing about this cinematic universe is that like the cameo of Loki turns into him in Thor: The Dark World, super fun. The cameo of he is on the like gym class, videos for Peter Parker.
Great cameo.
But that's it. But 7 stories versus Cap Comics, which have had untold amounts of story arcs, and like I couldn't even begin to. So in the comics, we're spoiled. In the movies, what this movie did is it made me look back and go, I just wanted these movies to not feel forever. I wanted them to feel temporary. And now they do. Now it's really like, oh, snap. We got one Hulk movie. Incredible Hulk.
By the way, I really want, after this, I love what they did with Hulk in this movie.
Too.
I mean, as a kid, I grew up with Professor Hulk.
Yeah.
So that was a good, but Mark Ruffalo's performance as Bruce is so specific. Yeah. And so seeing him do that performance as Hulk, it's like, I need this movie. Give me this movie because I like this. I'm shocked. I feel like we should have done this version of the character movies ago.
Well, I mean, maybe, but I also love that it happened after everything that happened. And again, the Hulk character, how many stories has he had in these movies? Like four or five, right? Like the little mini story arcs and stuff. So like, even though we're spoiled and we're like, oh, Mark Ruffalo has been Hulk for 10 years and they're going to keep doing Hulk movies and Hulk stories. It's like, no, that's it. You get a handful and they're very pivotal and important and cool, but I don't think they're ever going to, at this point, especially with Endgame, recast Bruce Banner. I think that they're going to bring in She-Hulk. I think they're going to bring in I'm
down for She-Hulk.
Maybe it's not Ross, but Red Hulk.
Red Hulk
Rick Jones will be A-Bomb. And then finally Amadeus Cho will be Totally Awesome Hulk. Mm-hmm. And I feel that these decisions have been like part of the MCU from the beginning. Iron Man 1 didn't even need to have James Rhodes, but Rhodey's in there. Each of these casts, even though most of them are led by white male characters, they have women in the cast, like prominently. They have people of color in these casts. Like Ant-Man, Scott Lang does not have a female character really as a part of his story in the comics. They created Hope. Yeah. They borrowed the name from another character, but Hope. Mm-hmm. And then he didn't have a Mexican friend. And then they created Luis and T.I. And, like all of these, and create T.I. They created Dave. They created for T.I. to play.
No, they invented T.I., the rapper, so he could play Dave.
But what I'm trying to say is I believe that the MCU has, and Disney and Marvel Studios has realized, and this is movies ago, people are going to connect with these actors as much as with the characters. And to not betray that, they're going to lean into the sort of like, this is it moment. And they have specifically been planting seeds to bring in new characters years down the line. Donald Glover says, I got a nephew who lives here in Spider-Man Homecoming. That's Miles Morales. Mm-hmm. We're years from Miles Morales live action in the MCU, but I believe truly it's going to happen. Is Peter Parker going to die? I don't know. But like, they have the potential to bring in all of those characters. It's not a mistake that Shuri was such a big part of Black Panther. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Yeah. Chadwick Boseman's in his 40s. He's not going to play that character in that way forever. 40s? Looks good. I think he might be like 39.
But he's 39, pushing. Yeah.
Right? Uh-huh. And so, but Black don't crack. He looks great. But I really do feel that even though the sort of, we're used to, because we're comic book heads, the pillars of the Marvel Universe, Iron Man, Thor, Captain America. We haven't met him yet. Reed Richards. We haven't met him yet. Professor Xavier, Charles Xavier, and those kind of heads of those worlds, the Illuminati basically. Even though some of those characters are going to be going away, like I think they're going to make another Captain America movie. Yeah, but it doesn't have to be Steve.
I like your point, because
I think that's a stronger way to go than to just be like, okay, we waited a little bit. Everybody said bye to Evans. He's off doing his other. We got a new actor to play Steve Rogers. It's like, why? Don't do that. No. It makes it more special if you don't do that.
I like the idea. I like your point about them like kind of seeding characters where it's like, no, it's like sequel opportunities. Your Avenger roster gets bigger, but also moving forward, and also with the permanence of people leaving or dying or getting old, or just letting them get old and live their life and be happy, you open the door to a lot of secondary characters. Like I saw like a think piece about how Spider-Verse, the movie, kind of fixed Miles a little bit narratively. Totally. Because it's like, reading the comics, I will pick up a Miles comic because I like his story, but he doesn't have rogues. Only his biggest thing is that he has a best friend. Yeah. That is,
and now Peter's got that.
And Peter has that, and kind of has the story that Miles has when he was introduced, is that he likes Tony Stark and wants to hang around the Avengers, which is not bad.
And now Fury's going to be in the next Spider-Man movie, and that was a whole relationship between Fury and Miles. But
and also like Miles didn't have like a personality really. He was living up to Peter, and that's cool, and Peter is his Uncle Ben, that's cool, but what does he do outside of that? Nothing. And so Spider-Verse made him an artist. It made him he has a very complicated relationship with his dad and also Spider-Man, and he's multicultural, so it's like he looks at the world from multiple points of view that other people wouldn't, that Peter can't. So that's why he is important and crucial. And giving a movie to a character like that and letting the writers take the time to spread them out and kind of unfurl them, it's like, okay, if we wanted to make them work in this world, where do they fit? And you can do that with anyone. You don't have to keep recycling the same characters. And you can have more faith in characters long term when it comes to movies like that.
Yes.
And coming to like Sam being Captain America.
Or Valkyrie being essentially Thor. Like, she's going to be the king of Asgard or the queen of Asgard.
That's
right?
super cool.
Absolutely.
But picking Sam over Bucky, because we talked about this after the movie. I think it just, there's like, and you brought up earlier, like making MCU specific decisions and not comic based decisions.
Right.
Picking Sam is a little bit of halvesy, but it also leans more into MCU, showing that like Bucky being Cap is cool.
Yes.
That just sounds cool. He looks cool. He's got a metal arm.
He's
Why
held
not?
the shield.
Yeah.
We all geeked out when he held the shield for 2 seconds in the first Avenger. Like, we get it.
It's
we
awesome.
love it. Yeah.
But he has been globally recognized as a terrorist multiple times, and he just got out of therapy, and then he died, and he came back. I think he should go to therapy a little bit longer, and then figure his stuff out before he decides to be a symbol or take on the responsibility of representing what America stands for. Instead, you could pick the person who is a veteran and who, not only that, he like is capable when it comes to technology and strategy and has been an Avenger and like...
Yeah, all that makes sense to me. I will say, I've always thought Falcon, specifically in the comics, taking on the mantle of Cap, is kind of almost like a slap in the face to Falcon. Like, Falcon is his identity.
Sure.
Falcon, he doesn't need
a sidekick.
a white guy's permission and that mantle to matter. You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely.
And so I'm kind of hoping that we see more characters like Black Panther and Shang-Chi as opposed to other people taking on
the mantle.
other people's mantles. So they're their own identity. They're their own icon.
I want both.
Yeah.
Because unfortunately, we still live in a world where characters that have that name recognition are going to get more support, more eyes on them. You know, that's why everyone was like, for the next Bond, have it be a black man. Like, no one's going, hey, for the next Bond, don't call him Bond. Call him something else.
Have it be like Slider movie.
Just have it be a black guy, but he's not Bond. The reason people want that name recognition, because they want that... Same with Miles, man. He got the support and he got the fan base because he was Spider-Man.
Yeah.
Cool thing about his original comics is that he was the only Spider-Man.
Yeah.
You know, and then they eventually merged him in, and now
I kind of wish he was still in his own universe,
I
especially after
agree.
seeing Spider-Verse. Is like, keep him in his own universe where he is
and
Spider-Man.
especially if Spider-Gwen gets to keep her own universe, which is another rad thing that she gets to be Spider-Woman and she gets to be, you know, the only Spider character in that world. But to me, it's about both. It's like, I want Jon Stewart to be Green Lantern. Because he is like deserving of that role, and I want people to know and recognize the name Green Lantern, and then they're like, oh, I know about Green Lantern. That's cool. Maybe it might not happen because of his movie history, but I'm saying if there's a movie called Green Lantern and it's John, people go and they, you know, they like make that synonymous with Jon Stewart, just an American black male, is something that might get more support than you know, a Cyborg movie. Just because the name Green Lantern just kind of has a longer history. Well, that's kind of a bad example because now Cyborg has been, like we've been saying earlier, like he has been sort of moved up to the forefront a little bit.
Yeah,
but
and it's even just the world we live in. Like, I was going to think Black Lightning. I was like, he has a show now. Like, nobody's off limits at this point.
Nobody's off limits. The exciting thing, unfortunately, like I should have been able to grab more like black superhero characters, more milestone characters. I want Static to have a movie, and
100%.
You know, and it's like if you were to release a Static movie and a Green Lantern movie where Green Lantern happens to be black, like what's going to be recognized more? Or if you're going to release a let me think of an example here, like Flash, and let's say hypothetically Wally West or Barry Allen's like played by like a person of color, like what's going to get recognized more, Static or the Flash movie, right? Like I want both, and I think that the MCU is promising to sort of deliver both. They have a bunch of original characters that are women, people of color. They've been planting those seeds. They've been setting that up. But I also am really excited at the prospect of Sam being Cap, and at least him forging his own. You know, when he became Cap, he kept his wings, which I thought was great. I'm like, he looks super cool. He's a flying Cap. It looks super cool. Like that's great. I want there to be a Jane Foster Thor, and then with Natalie Portman coming back, I'm like, please tell me this is how you've convinced her to like to head up A-Force, like some story where Jane Foster comes back, Thor's off world, and she picks up a hammer and then becomes Thor, and then leads that amazing lineup that we saw in the movie, which I thought was another huge moment. And it was a promise, and it was this is the sort of future of where this franchise can go. You know, it's unfortunate, but it's a reality that the first Avengers movie that came out in 2012 became the third highest grossing movie at the time, had all white characters, 6 characters on the Avengers plus Nick Fury. And then all of them were male except for one character. And it's because they were adapting Silver Age comic character, like the sort of original lineup of the Avengers. Now, could you have done a Black Panther movie before number 18 or whatever? Yes, absolutely. Could you have done a Black Widow movie in 2013? Yeah. In 2009, yes, 100%.
You should have immediately, because we did the rewatch like everybody else for Infinity War, even though we should have waited a year, clearly. And it's like you watch Iron Man 2, and it's like, why wasn't Black Widow your next movie?
Sure, they absolutely could have, but what they did do is to at least in my eyes adhere to the sort of comics history pretty closely. Where Iron Man 1 is not Rhodey being Iron Man after Tony Stark retires. It's Iron Man, Tony Stark, and then eventually Rhodey in the sequel becomes War Machine, kind of like the comics. What's cool is that Scott Lang skipped it because Scott Lang, Ant-Man rather, the movie Ant-Man, did look at it and go, okay, well, do we need a Hank Pym? Do we need like another guy that like scientist discovers a thing and then it's like, well, what would Hank Pym bring to this? Well, he's like a scientist. In our movie universe, he didn't even create Ultron. I don't know. He's had like marital problems. What else can this character bring to this? Well, what if he's the mentor and what if it's Scott? And Scott's played by someone like a Paul Rudd. Funny, sarcastic, making pop culture references the way that Scott Lang does in the comics. And I think that was a super, super smart decision. Then they could kind of retroactively still say, listen, Hank Pym's a big part of the MCU and its history, which by then they really started to sort of build and lean into. Agent Carter had a show, plenty of flashbacks. The World War II history was covered. So I think that they have done an excellent job of figuring out what these characters bring to the larger universe, and I think that it will be important to have both because, as I totally get Sam Wilson and the love of wanting him to be the Falcon because he's Falcon and that's good enough, and he doesn't need like you said, he doesn't need the validation or whatever. I think that the way that it was handled at the end of the movie was beautiful because Steve hands it to him and he goes, how does it feel? And he says, like it's someone else's. And he goes, it isn't. And it's like, oh man, that's emotional. That's powerful. That's, it's a statement.
Yeah. Also great old man acting from Chris
Evans.
Man.
The voice, the makeup, the CG, whatever they did. Great.
Finally unveiled that they were really good at doing old people.
We've been de-aging people. We can age them up. Don't you worry.
You bet. Watch this dial.
I will say. So you brought up the really cool moment where all the female ladies, all the female character ladies,
all the female ladies, women, girls.
There you go.
Really cool.
They all team up to get Captain Marvel with the gauntlet. It did bring up my one critique that I had to dance around. And there's nitpicks. Like I don't know if you really break it down if the time travel stuff makes any sense. It doesn't matter. It's just a narrative reason for them to go back in their own story.
Before you get to that, really quick, I think it almost does a good enough job until Cap doesn't come back.
We'll break it down because it sounds like we're all on a similar page.
The important thing is that it made sure to point to Back to the Future and go, well, look, that's bullshit. And that's been our standard. So now we're just a little bit better, makes a little bit more sense. So we should be fine. And they were in the clear.
It also led to one of my favorite scenes in the movie, because again, we're in spoilers now. Tilda Swinton came back, and in our screening, I was the only one that applauded for Tilda Swinton. I was like, okay, just me then, me.
We had applauses for Tilda Swinton, Robert Redford, Rene Russo.
Yes, please.
Like all of those great cameos got applauses.
Frank Grillo. Good for you,
man. It was good seeing him back. But I love Tilda Swinton so much, and she was so good as H1, so seeing her back was great. But my one real critique is to get the Soul Stone.
Yeah.
With a big chunk of these movies is the Guardians and the Avengers, the two big teams in the MCU, and they both have exactly one female character we really care about, and both of them got chucked off the same rock.
Yeah. And
that seems like bullshit to me. Like that's
it's a real bummer. Yeah. And I saw another great valid critique where the screenwriters something McFeely and Christopher Marcus, or maybe I'm swapping
Stephen McFeely.
Stephen McFeely, Christopher Marcus were asked, what's the toughest character to write? And they said Natasha. They said Black Widow. And I saw a totally valid criticism by a friend of mine where she was like, well, give this character to women and it's not going to be as difficult to write. And I get that, but I also agreed with the screenwriters because just the nature of the Black Widow character she's very complex to me. Yeah. She's more complex than Clint. And they're supposed to be peers where they're like both SHIELD agents, right? And it's like, I was talking to my girlfriend about this too. She was like, I kind of wish it was Clint that got chucked off that thing. And I go, I agree, but I also love that it wasn't, and that it was that. Because she goes, my whole life has been leading up to this moment. Her whole character point is supposed to be, I'm trying to get the red out of my ledger. Yeah. And with Clint going to the dark side for 5 years and killing bad guys.
Yeah.
And
cool.
him,
Same, by the way.
Awesome. And him thinking he's not worthy. It was Natasha going, I'm not going to judge you for that. The same way you didn't judge me. Yeah. The same way you were sent to kill me and instead you recruited me. And you saw something, you believed in me, whatever it was. Like, you helped me, I've helped you. This has been our friendship for years. And just like, let me do this thing. You have a family. Yeah. And then later Steve goes, he's asked, did she have a family? And he goes, yeah, us. So she made the choice to do that to save her family effectively, which are the rest of the Avengers. And it only makes it a little bit better that, like, I know she's getting her own movie, but I am also kind of bummed. I'm like, I knew going into this thing, I thought that the Soul Realm had some cheats. I thought that we were going to get Gamora.
They were both going to jump, and it's like, oh, you sacrificed yourselves. Yeah, you get the Soul Stone.
That is the answer. You figured it out. That Red Skull was going to resurrect Gamora. I don't know what I was like, they're going to go to the Soul Realm. I thought Guardians 3 was going to be Star-Lord after he comes back, and everybody comes back, him going, well, wait, Gamora's not back? This is BS. Let's go get her. I thought that's what was going to happen. No. To me, it's comic book stuff, and I was expecting this because I want these characters to live forever. No. But the fact that Natasha, along with, and I don't know about you guys, the second time I watched it, especially because I knew what was happening, I was crying when Natasha died. Mm-hmm. The way that Jeremy Renner was acting, the way that she was acting, the way she said, let me go, it's okay. And then later Pepper said the same thing to Tony, we're going to be okay. It all worked for me. And it sucks because she is this... she's like the main female character of the rest of these dudes.
Basically it
up to this point. And so was Gamora, and Nebula even died, but Nebula was amazing in this movie, but not really. Nebula lived. It's fine. She's fine. But
which goes back to our time travel.
But it does suck. But again, I feel like the movie was like, look, we know that we killed off Natasha Romanoff. We know that we've killed off, you're going to not see Tony in a little bit, but here's the promise for the future. Wasp, Gamora, Nebula, Valkyrie, Captain Marvel, Shuri, like all of these female characters that are going to be backing up. They take the thing from Spidey, backing up. Okoye's there. She won't be alone, is what she said. And she pulls out her spear, and it was awesome. And it was symbolic. It was political by very nature of these characters' existence. They're political, no matter what's happening.
No matter what women, you guys want.
They're political. It's a political statement to go, hey, we have female characters, we love them, and we're going to do more with them. And maybe if you guys gift the hell out of this, we'll do an A-Force movie. Like we thought, we know what we have. Yeah. And it is a bummer that, and it's the same way that like Gamora died in Infinity War. Yeah. But I love that scene. Yeah. And I love Zoe Saldana's performance, and she made me cry in that movie. And her relationship with Star-Lord and her relationship with her father and her and Nebula are so messed up. And their sister relationship makes me cry at the end of Guardians 2, but their relationship with their father. So all of this stuff, it's like, it sucks. Yeah. But I'm like, if they did it correctly, but it sucks.
Yeah, and I also think it's like everybody probably expected Hawkeye, so it's like, let's switch it up and surprise people. Also, Scarlett Johansson is, I think, the second highest performer in these movies, the second highest paid performer.
Really?
Yeah. So, because she's been around long, so it's like, maybe let's save some of that money.
But she's getting her own movie.
Yeah. Which is great.
It's
about time. But
I did want to point out, though, with that, both of those scenes meant a lot to me because they are heartfelt and they do break you. Clint showing his family die in the beginning, that there's no way he has to live to see his kids.
Sure.
And you kept teasing that he almost sees them, especially with the time travel. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I will say the more heartfelt scene for me was when Nebula convinced Gamora to help. Yeah. It's like, I know that you don't want to do this, and you're like literally, you were only like minutes away from leaving anyways. And it's like, and
you're literally wearing your costume from Guardians 1.
And the music is swelling, and you can feel it in Gamora's soul in that scene. And you can see now that Gamora has had to pull Nebula back from the side, and now that Nebula is on the side of the angels, she pulls Gamora out as well. And it's so powerful for Nebula, seeing that like she, out of basically everyone, is the most messed up. Who's been physically tortured, and she changed, and she knows she can't take away what she did before, but she can be better now. And that's a great lesson to have, and that's so cool that she gets to live. Again, time travel, big question mark.
Well, let's dive into that real quick, because that was something which, again, this narratively, this time travel, it's Legends of Tomorrow rules. These time travel just exists for our story and specifically for these characters to revisit parts of the movie. My first issue with the time travel is like, we know the ether was sitting in a rock for generations. You didn't need to go when it was inside Jane. You could have just gone to the rock.
The trick there is the convergence, which is when that stuff opened up.
Remember the convergence?
Didn't happen until 2013, and Jane was at the right place at the right time, and Thor may not have known where that hidden location was, but he knew that it was in Jane. But yes.
But what about Vormir with the rock? No, Vormir's the Soul Stone. What about the Power Stone? We literally go the day before.
There's a reason for that.
I figured from it
to see the funny joke of him dancing to music and we don't.
What I got from it is, in this universe of if they're going to do a time heist, they should know it to the best of their ability where exactly everything is.
Yeah.
And they should go with as many people as possible in these teams.
Heist, by the way.
So time heist is great. Heist movie, finally they did it. You just saw the reverse with Infinity War, and now our people could do it. It's way cooler. But no, I like the idea of bringing reinforcements. You need to have multiple people to pull these things off. Yeah. And why not try to do it in one big move so we can all keep track of each other? We don't have to keep spreading people out everywhere. And making it as easy to understand as possible. Because Morag, what were you going to say about that when it comes to that?
The in-universe reason, and I forget where I picked up this detail, whether it was a commentary from like James Gunn and the Guardians disc, because I was telling you guys before we started, I've been rewatching these movies, rewatching all the special features. I've also been rereading, and for the first time reading some of the tie-in comics. Some stuff is in there.
The ones that tie into the movies.
To the MCU, yeah. Some of them are preludes, and some of them are just like adaptations of the movies. I'm like, all right, whatever. I just watch this movie. Who cares? But some of them are like the Guardians comic shows you a little adventure with Rocket and Groot before they show up, or how Nebula loses her arm and then she gets a robot arm.
Yeah.
Like those little kind of details. Somewhere in the Guardians stuff, you learn that on Morag there was like a sea that was up for 500 years, and that was like the one day that the sea receded and the temple was like underwater, which is why Peter was there that day, which is why. So like they didn't say that. They didn't say that in the movie, but there is an in-universe reason for that somewhere.
That's super
that makes me feel better.
Why they couldn't go like a week before.
Well, and then the New York thing makes sense because Black Widow points out that there's the 3 stones in New York and the one day. So the other issue is the Hulk is the primary conduit for the exposition on time travel. He says you can't, when you go back now, that past moment is your future. So you can't change what happened before because that would be essentially changing your past.
Correct.
All right.
Yeah.
And then he runs into the Ancient One. Again, one of my favorite scenes. She's like, oh, you're looking for Stephen Strange. You're 5 years too early. He's over there doing surgery, which just reminded how cool that character is.
Yes. When it finally confirmed that Doctor Strange occurs during like 2017.
Yeah.
Not 2016, the year it was released, and not 2010, like some people were like, or 2011, where it's like, oh, he was trying to fix a guy from Iron Man 2 with the suit. No, it was in 2017.
Yeah. So, and she talks about once you remove the stone, you create a branching timeline. The visual actually is kind of strange too, because when the stone's removed, that's what creates the branch.
Yes.
And then Hulk's like, but if we return it, then the branch goes away, implying that now this is the one timeline. Throw that out. Let's say they're making branching timelines. He
doesn't say that. He specifically says...
the visual, though, is there's the one, and then it creates a branch, and then he puts it back, and now we're back to one.
Okay, I'll give you that.
Yeah.
What he says is... I didn't mean to actually you, but...
No, it's okay, because you're right. What he's essentially... By the way, I
attention.
just noticed your shirt. One, I love that Power Man and Iron Fist run.
Yeah, thank
and
you.
2, the shirt's dope, but that's beside the point.
Audio listeners, you're missing out.
This is what I picked up on the second time I watched it. Because, the first time I was like, cool. They have to... I was like, they'll have to put the stones and everything else back exactly where it was.
Which is impossible if you watch the movie.
At the end, I was thinking, Tony Stark has to... When he snapped, I hope that he doesn't just disappear and dust everybody, but put them back in 2014 with their minds wiped, so that all the events occur the way that they occur. But then Nebula died, and I was like, "Oh, what is that?"
Yeah, so Nebula gets killed, and then future Nebula, nothing happens to her, which was fine because I didn't like the way Looper ended personally.
Right, or Back to the Future rules or whatever.
So
my understanding is, the Ancient One was talking about the stones, and she goes, if you take one of these stones away, that my new universe is unprotected because there's no stone there. And Banner was like, we'll bring the stone back so it will be protected. So he says, so in that universe, the stone will never have left.
Yeah, you're right, because the specific wording he uses is in this universe.
The stone will never have left. He doesn't say that things won't be different and I'm going to bring back all the people.
But your timeline now still has the stone. So they need to bring it back so they're creating branches, but the branches aren't screwed.
Yes, that's what it is.
And that's what he described. I think Cap describes it as like like cribbing the branches.
And so he goes back with the stones and the hammer because Thor takes his hammer from the past.
Which is, if you're gonna do it, just
you got to do it. So fine. So branching realities.
Conceivably, he gives the hammer back to Asgard in 2013.
Yes.
And the ether.
Yes.
Does he put it back into Jane Foster? Probably. So let's say all of that is like conceivably that's what happened. And in that universe, everything's fine. The Malekith, the Dark Elf, still kills Frigga or Curse or whatever. It was Malekith. No. Everything happens in 2013, 2014. Like everything should be the same. But then in whatever universe, and so all the stones are put back and the hammer's put back.
But it's still branching realities.
Right. They are alternate realities.
Is what we're led to believe.
Yes.
But there is an alternate reality where in 2014, instead of Star-Lord meeting Gamora, he gets knocked out on Morag. And like, again, we are assuming he wakes up and he's fine, but like he doesn't get the Power Stone because nobody was after this Power Stone. Like the Power Stone gets taken out and put back, but does he then...
Thanos and his entire army is gone.
Yes, that's the main thing. Is it Thanos, Gamora, Nebula, and Thanos' army is gone. So does that mean in that universe, there's no Infinity War? In that universe, if there's no Thanos, there's no does Ronan still get the stone?
Does he destroy Xandar? Like, does that happen?
And also,
that doesn't happen because Thanos is dead.
And it's implied that Gamora might still be kicking around our universe.
She is, because we didn't see her dust.
And again, so branching realities, and just we've accepted that one is screwed up because Thanos got dusted.
Here's another one.
But
Loki,
because Loki teleports away
with the Tesseract in 2012. In 2012, so that's why they had to go to the 70s to get another Tesseract, but then bring it back. So everything from that 70s alternate universe is fine.
Did that change the reality that Loki teleports away in, or is that now another branching reality?
I'd say it's another branching. The existence of, if you move back in time, that is now something else. Because you weren't there, so it has to be a branch.
Cool, and that's fine. And I think it sounds like we
are explaining gobbledygook, but yes, that's fine.
We're all on the same page. Branching realities. One of them screwed because Thanos got dusted, except for the fact that Cap goes back.
Yes.
And then ages to the point where he's supposed to meet everybody else.
Yes.
And how does that work?
So my theory is that when Cap went back, he did it right. Is that he found a way to put the stones back, the ones that they took, right? Which meant the 70s, we're dropping that off. And as far as we know, everything else in that timeline is the same and kind of not messed with. It's not like he pulled out Hank Pym. It's, everything's the same. The Soul Stone took it back. Everything is the same. I feel like, and then the hammer, again, in 2013, Asgard dropped it off. Everything's the same. I feel like Cap, I don't know how he figured it out or how he knew or how it happened, but found the way to, after all was said and done, and enough alternate timelines were sort of fine, other than the main one being the one where Thanos is gone. Yeah,
that's one. There's nothing we can do about that one.
He found the one where it's like, cool. This is our regular timeline. I'm going to live in here. Yeah. And find Peggy in the 50s, maybe. Yeah. Maybe. So maybe he's a little younger.
After Agent Carter Season 2.
Definitely after Agent Carter Season 2. And the only other clue that we have about Peggy Carter's life is that she was married. Yeah. And that her husband was saved by Captain America in World War II inadvertently. Like, he didn't know he was saving who would become Peggy's future husband.
That conversation was in Winter Soldier?
That conversation was in Winter Soldier in a flashback video when he's at the Smithsonian. And Peggy talking about the Captain America in 1953 was like Steve, he saved my husband when he was, like, he didn't know he was always changing my life even after he was gone. So, like, I think that husband is going to become Steve. But all it means is that Steve goes back to, again, that sort of prime timeline, and then he just has to, like, change his name, remain hidden, and the 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s, everything will just never be active.
Yeah.
Hopefully he still has friends and stuff, but, like, literally will never mess with anything until he can age up to where, and everything will still have to have made sense, meaning Peggy will still be old and dies in 2016, a little bit before the events of Captain America: Civil War.
And Steve has to take solace in the fact that, like, I can't be there as an old man, but I know him there as a young guy.
Yes, that my young self is there, like, bringing her coffin. Yeah. Or in 2014, when young Steve goes to visit her and she's already losing her memory. Yeah. Like, Peggy has to be in on it too. To where Peggy has to, like, lie and be like, oh, we were never together. So that when she gets her memory back, she's like, you're back. It's been so long. It's like, was she acting? Or was, like, because, and at that point, where's her husband, Steve? Because in that timeline, we did know that she was married to a dude, but he maybe died. So, like, does Steve sort of fake his death legally and just be like, okay, now my husband character of, I don't know, Peter Parker or whatever, like dies, but I'm still going to be living in this house chilling with Peggy, and like, and oh, she's losing her memory. I can't be with her. I can't help her, but maybe I'll be over here. But like, maybe I'll check in on her, but I got to let her go, and she has to die on, she's got to die in 2016, and in 2014, my young self's going to visit her. It's going to be real sad, and I'm kind of in the background. I don't know.
Yeah. Maybe he went back in time, divergent timeline, hold on to some Pym particles. Where are they going to go? Put them in a shelf. Whatever, it doesn't matter.
And then when he's an old man, he visits the original universe just to drop off that shield.
Because he knows exactly when he knows exactly the coordinates of when he left.
Yes.
So he goes back.
Yes.
And I think that's the only way this can make literally any sense, because
I like both of your explanations. I will say I always kind of like the mystery of who Peggy ended up with.
Sure.
And I like that the answer is Steve, except when you kind of got into specifics there. It's like, oop, it's more complicated than I thought it was. It's a little more, because I knew he had to not be around.
It's a big lie.
Yeah.
Or if he is around, they have to pretend like he's not.
No.
His timeline might be great. Maybe he helped out with civil rights. Maybe Vietnam didn't happen. There's a lot of. Did he run for president? Like maybe there could be some good stuff that happened.
Steve, you better, because if you go back after having seen everything you've seen, and you see how much the U.S. is struggling with things, basic social issues, and you're not doing something, you're a piece of crap. Steve, you really should. I don't know. Yeah, I hope he changed his name, and you go back and look at the history books and be like, that was a really good-looking, very active guy.
Shockingly good-looking.
Like,
shocking.
It's weird. Captain America died, and then like his brother like started working at the same base.
Here's the other question. We got fan questions we should dive into, but here's the other question I have for you guys.
I've also just been listening, because this is great to hear other people so excited about this, because I could gush about this for hours.
One thing I love, and I mentioned to both of you before we started, one thing I love about this movie specifically is that they keep the 5 years that happened, especially specifically, it's completely selfish on Tony's part. He's basically has a daughter and he doesn't want to lose her. They keep that from happening. So everything, they don't just undo what happened in Infinity War. It happened, 5 years passed, and then they bring everybody back.
Yes.
For this movie, that's a great choice.
Yeah.
Moving forward with the MCU, that complicates things,
now,
because
you might be, you're not wrong, but we haven't seen what they're going to do yet
with Far From Home. I think it's but that's also weird to me. One of the
They're
issues
shouldering so much responsibility to make the world now work like a world,
because that goes to my issue is one of the issues I had with Homecoming, which I thought was a very enjoyable movie. I hated too strong a word. I was bothered by how much it depended upon Iron Man.
Sure.
Like where Spider-Man it's like a Robin movie and Iron Man's the Batman. It's like, that's not who Spider-Man is to me.
Sure.
Now Spider-Man is now shouldered with the responsibility of like
wrapping
him
everything
and
up.
I guess all his friends vanished at the same time.
Dealing with this.
So now they're 5 years later. That's not that's like the Mephisto shit in Brand New Day. That's not Spider-Man. That's not And if you were to say, like, let's say the Netflix shows are canceled, right? So let's say they want to relaunch Punisher, a character like Punisher. So now Punisher, he served in the Marines for a while. And then half of the people on Earth vanished, but then he lost his family, and now he's the Punisher. It's like suddenly, your grounded characters are kind of derailed.
With the Netflix stuff, those same problems had to be addressed with just the nature of like, oh, they live in a post-Avengers saving New York from aliens in 2012 world. And they addressed it because they're like, the Kingpin's been buying up property. And
like the difference between that is then it's an event like 9/11 where people who were affected by it, but it didn't necessarily affect you directly. Whereas this, by the very nature
everybody was affected.
Literally,
everyone
it's like 9/11 happened to everybody.
Yes.
Or to go back to my comic book example, it's like Brand New Day. Mephisto came and made a deal with literally every person on the planet.
Yeah, to take their spouse.
Yeah.
And then 5 years later, they bring it back.
And then they're just back.
Listen,
I don't know how you do that. Like, okay, so like Miss Marvel, Kamala Khan.
Yeah.
Right? So her whole story with Captain Marvel, plus either she vanished or somebody she knew vanished. That puts a wrinkle in literally everybody's narrative. And I don't know how you handle that elegantly moving forward.
I think that I don't know.
Yeah.
And the answer is hopefully going to be delivered in Spider-Man Far From Home.
Yeah.
Now that's been cited as the last movie in Phase 3, it's like, okay, well, why? It really should be ending with Endgame, unless really to that movie's going to like bring some kind of closure, which I hope it does. Now, I don't know this for sure, but I have a theory that Aunt May was also dusted, just because of the fact that Aunt May and Peter were like, in the trailers. I know the trailer's not trying to give stuff away, but like, can you imagine a world where Aunt May stayed around for 5 years
without
That's
Peter?
devastating.
Yeah.
And I feel like in an effort to not complicate that relationship
Yeah.
and to just sort of continue where we last saw Aunt May in Homecoming, they will both be dusted, coming back. Now they're going to be dealing with the world, certainly, but like at least their relationship will be like, nothing changed. We're the same, but the world is different.
At least one of his classmates had, like, Laura Harrier's Liz. I know she's not in their school anymore, but she has to be like a grown-up person.
Sure.
No, a lot of based on his age, at the very least, his friends, half of his friends are in their second year of college.
Yeah.
Or their job, whatever they wanted to do.
Well, hang on a second. It's 2016 was when Homecoming happened. Is he a freshman?
Freshman or sophomore. I'd give him like that kind of like wiggle room.
Freshman
a
or
bit.
sophomore.
Yeah.
Get that wiggle room. High school's 4 years. 2023 is how many years from 2016?
Oh.
7 years.
Yeah.
But again, 5 years of those don't count. So like if Peter, when he presumably walked into that school, he was a senior, maybe? He was either a senior, he was either a junior or a senior. Problem is, Ned was there.
Yeah.
Did Peter walk into college? Is this movie about
Ned,
college?
I think
We don't
all his
know.
friends. I think Ned and we saw Flash in the trailer, and
Yes.
and MJ
And MJ,
Michelle.
yeah.
They all got dusted. Is
Yeah.
I guess what we're supposed to believe.
Maybe, unless. Well, I'm gonna have to tell you guys something after because I have a buddy who works at a
Snap.
trailer house.
Oh snap! Oh snap!
And he told me a thing that isn't. It might not be true, but he told me this thing, and I was like, I've known about the 5-year thing for a while.
Really?
So when people were like, Infinity War has no stakes, they'll just be brought back, I had to keep going like, not necessarily. We don't know. We don't know what's going to happen. Which is another reason I'm super happy that the 5-year thing happened because it just
again for this movie
stakes.
it's perfect.
Yes.
With the trailer
Yes.
for Spider-Man Far From Home, we see
Yeah.
them helping out at a community center and donating money, and it's specifically from the Howard Stark Fund or Tony Stark Fund.
Yeah.
And you see the Jon Favreau, Happy, and Marissa Tomei's character. They're flirting, or like they're moving on. Their lives are growing and they're restarting.
Yeah.
But also with that, it's like after all this, if Peter didn't want to do this anymore, it makes sense, and you have that moving forward. Also, Nick Fury, his initial reason for the Avengers was to have like a shield around the world, and now this, even though it's an end, you need it more than ever. So trying to recruit Peter and kind of rebuild that, you'd feel it more, and more people choosing to move into action to like make decisions to protect the people around them would happen more now. Even more so than when they got dusted, because now that we're back, we need to protect this more than ever.
It's like Steve said in Endgame. He goes, we were left with the world, and we have to do something with it. Otherwise, Thanos should have killed all of us.
It's a dark line, but it is.
That line, like, inspires me. And that line, I feel like, is I think it's a commentary on what's happening now politically. I honestly do. I really think the Russos slipped it in there with, like, look, things might not be great, but we have to, environmentally, everything. It's like we have to do something. And you should take that away when you walk out of this fun superhero movie. Like, Captain America's words, they can have meaning, and you can apply them to real world because
100%.
because they're real words and they were written by real people, and there's a real sentiment behind it, and it's not just stuff that should be thrown away like, oh, that's fun. Look, Cap said that, and that was a political statement. The women all showing up at the end to help Captain Marvel, that's a political statement. Handing the shield to Falcon, that's a political statement, and they should have real world, and hopefully they will, like real world results and impact. So
do we want to answer a few questions real quick?
We should.
Yeah.
Just really quick, wanted to go around and just say some moments that are going to stick with you for the rest of your life. One, Hulk that can talk. Really big fan of that. Also, Mark Ruffalo's. All I can think of is if you made the guy from 13 going on 30 just a bit bigger. And that's what I'm like, yes, this is exactly what I want. Ant-Man being as OP as he is in this movie, there's literally nothing he can't do. And I love that the Russos love him, especially Paul Rudd's interpretation. Spider-Man riding a Pegasus, I don't know where it came from. I don't care where it came from. Also, don't know why the Wizards asked the Wasp to come, because they had to open a portal for her to come. Don't care. I'm happy that happened.
I also don't know how all the armies were ready to go in like the 10 minutes.
I have a theory. Well, my take on it is because we saw the shortcut was there are also other sorcerers. And I'm like, oh yeah, as established in Doctor Strange, other people training.
Yeah.
Maybe they're not being trained by an ancient one because she died.
Yeah.
But like Kamartaj, are they still training there?
Yeah.
And if so, half of them survived.
Yeah.
So for 5 years, they've been like, everything's out of whack. This isn't, in terms of magical world, this is messed up. maybe one of them got some kind of or maybe it was Doctor Strange.
Or Wong. Wong was able to channel,
that's right.
Tune in.
I imagine they've been checking in with Wong over 5 years. I imagine that even though they're like, hey, listen, Steven's gone, but this is what he said, and Wong, you're protecting the Sanctum Sanctorum in New York, but like, and maybe during their planning of like, we got a big ballsy move, the time travel thing that could bring everybody back, somebody called Wong and was like, here's what we got.
Yeah.
And he was like, cool, have everybody on standby. Maybe. I don't know. Or maybe,
and it also doesn't matter because it's so cool.
You know what's so great about this movie? The dumb, flippy CG helmets that were like, remember Iron Man 1 when a helmet was a helmet?
Yes.
It looked awesome. Avengers when a helmet was a helmet that barely moved and then it was one piece, and now they're just CG masks. It doesn't matter. It doesn't break the movie. We're along with it. Everyone has a magical earpiece that has perfect reception. That
all the time,
Captain Marvel can earpiece you, talk to you in your ship, and she's in space.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter because the movies, plural, have built up such goodwill that we're just along for the ride. It's the same as Indiana Jones. Indy hopping a ride on a submarine, and then the little red line happens, and we're like, wait, was he holding his breath for hundreds of miles to go fight these Nazis at the end of Raiders of the Lost Ark? Nobody ever remembers that detail. It doesn't matter. We're cheering for the hero. The movies, that's the goodwill. It's like the movies won us over. Nothing to me in Endgame is ever like movie breaking where you're like, wait a minute. I watched Men in Black 3. I watched it when it came out, and I remember at the end I'm like, wait a minute, because the time travel shenanigans were movie breaking. The time travel of like, Will Smith at one point uses time travel to go and exist in a point in time, and then at the end of the movie he uses it with like a minute just to see what happens, and I'm like, bro, you would have gone back and seen your duplicate from a minute ago. You have inconsistent, and that like broke the movie for me. I'm like, this doesn't make any sense. But none of that stuff happens in Endgame.
Really quick, because Raw13 in the chat actually shared a timeline breakdown from all the different time travel stuff. I will download it. I'll send it to you guys so we can look through it. Because I think the Captain America alternate timeline then looped around to say give away the shield. I think that's what happened.
I agree. I think I like your take best, where he just remembered the coordinates and he's 93 and he's like, time to go give this shield back in my timeline.
Hopefully I don't die.
And then he came back, and even if Peggy had passed away in 2016, maybe Cap's got some kids, some grandkids.
I'm very interested to see.
Just like that Captain America story where he raised a daughter in Dimension Z for a couple years, I'm like, dude, we might see Cap's kids, biological children.
That would be cool.
A woman
maybe on
who's
the
Captain
Bucky
America,
Winter Soldier show.
Maybe like through alternate universe shenanigans, which they've opened up, just like Spider-Verse. Like, we're fine, we're ready for it. We might like, I came home and last night my buddy went to go see Endgame, and he comes back and he goes, how many years away are we from Marvel 1602? And I'm like, that'd be dope.
That'd be really cool.
I don't know.
2099, maybe?
I don't know. 2099. That'd be dope.
Got a question here from Danny M, aka Echo Spider, and right now he is watching Endgame for his second time, and he'll be watching it again for his third time tomorrow. What did you do you think after how this movie ended, the Disney Plus shows will take place after Endgame? Also, how do we get Vision back?
Oh, great
I'm
question.
guessing all after Endgame.
I'm guessing
besides Loki.
I'm thinking WandaVision has to be during their little hiatus thing. Also, I don't need Vision back. I'm fine if Vision's.
I was thinking about that too, but again, the permanence of Paul Bettany was Vision, and now he's gone. Makes Vision more special. And it's called WandaVision, and they told us it was going to have a 50s aesthetic.
Wow.
And I'm like, okay, whatever that means. Maybe the show will be about Wanda coping, and maybe she tries to bring Vision back. I'm in for that show, but I also don't need him to come back. Like,
also might be a good place to introduce Wonder Man in that show. That would be
kind of fun.
Yes,
not
cool.
Paul Bettany. I was like, played by Paul Bettany.
It would be. I think it would be Nathan Fillion.
Yeah, because they
set that up already.
He deleted scene, like cameoed as him as Simon Williams in Guardians 2.
Guardians 2,
What was that scene? Because I never saw that.
It was a movie poster.
Yeah,
it was the Earth Goop. Remember the Earth Goop that we've never talked about? It was like
Ego.
Ego's Goop.
So that was so. Yeah, there's. I think that Falcon, Winter Soldier, that might even take place before, because it's Falcon, Winter Soldier, not Cap and Winter Soldier. Like, that might be their relationship and them kind of, building a friendship to where, like, maybe that show could end to where Bucky, like, the show could prove why Bucky shouldn't be Cap. You know what I mean? It could do that to where then, okay, cool. Now the little scene at the end where Bucky's like, go ahead, Sam. Like, it will make you go, oh man, because I saw their show where they were both like, who knows?
By the way, in the comics and the movies, let's let Bucky be Nomad. because he needs to ditch the Winter Soldier title. It's not
I love it.
It sounds cool,
yeah.
But what it represents to him as a person,
and the world,
that's him, bad assassin version.
I get that.
Maybe
I get that.
JFK's assassin.
Maybe, but just how like Spider-Woman,
cool name.
Just how like Spider-Woman was actually a Skrull for years in the comics, and then when Jessica Drew, the real Spider-Woman, came back and she's dressed up, she's Spider-Woman, and everyone's like, oh, everybody knows your face is the worst enemy of Earth, as this evil alien that almost killed everybody. She was like, well, I'm taking my name back. Like, it could be that. It could be Bucky. It could be Winter Soldier trying to take that back. I think Loki will be the 2012 Loki, where I wouldn't be surprised if that show ends with somebody, or even himself, putting the Tesseract back and him going right back to where he left, so that he could still be taken to Asgard and still be like, they could do a redemptive arc where that Loki, and then the rest of the movies are like, oh, he knew the whole time he was going to die. They could do that kind of stuff.
By the way, he doesn't get a lot in this movie, but Tom Hiddleston's so great. Like when he realizes the Tesseract's there and he just grabs, and it's like there's
also,
a reason.
He sees Ant-Man. He's like, what's happening right now?
Yeah, I like that he picks up on it. If you enjoy these movies, I highly recommend checking out Only Lovers Left Alive. It was directed by Jim Jarmusch. It stars Tom Hiddleston and Tilda Swinton as two vampires.
It stars Loki and Ancient One.
It stars Loki and Ancient One, and they're such tremendous performers.
That's
and I think also this movie brought out some of the best performances from their actors.
Very cool. Endgame?
Endgame.
Oh,
I think just going back to just because there's little moments that I don't think on paper, if you read it on a script, should work. Specifically, tremendous callback, but I think specifically Tony's "I Am Iron Man" on paper shouldn't work.
Yeah.
But Robert Downey's performance, the way he finds his way to that line. Yeah. Also, when Hulk realizes that he's quote unquote made for this.
Yeah.
Mark Ruffalo's performance there makes that moment work when I think on paper it wouldn't otherwise.
It's
also
too convenient on paper.
Yeah, and also another Hulk moment that I really like that's really small, and I really liked it both times. And it's a good reminder that even though he's got Bruce Banner's brain, he's still the Hulk, is when he talks to Thor about Thanos and Thor has this breakdown and grabs him and he's like, take your hands off me. Yeah. Just take it, because there's that little moment of like, I'm still the Hulk. Yeah. And I got a little bit of an anger issue. You might want to take your hands off me.
It's a really good scene. For me, when it comes to what's happening post Infinity War, I feel like Hawkeye's show is going to be something that's going to be happening post that, like trying to cope with it, and maybe a redemptive arc for him, because he's like, oh yeah, I murdered a lot of people.
I'm excited to see Kate Bishop.
Kate Bishop's going to be
also
cool.
Hawkeye had some really when he's running away from the creature, like it's a great use of him of like, for real, honest to God, how does Hawkeye get out of this specific situation?
It's real hard, and he barely makes it.
Because he's not Batman or anything. It's not like he's got tools for every situation. It's just like, I got these arrows.
Hook, maybe 3 arrows and a sword.
Yeah.
That I'm excited for. WandaVision. Falcon Winter Soldier, I'll just say, happening post, and them coming to terms with what it means for what they represent and how they want to take Steve's message of being Captain America and filling the void. I would be on board with that. Yeah. And I hope Hulk is used in some way moving forward. This Hulk is so good. Hopefully his hand looks better. Maybe it can still look all kind of chewed up a little bit, but it'll heal. You can heal from anything.
It's the Hulk.
He got hit by a bomb. No, wait, not in this one.
I really want. I think this is unfinished, but him and Nat, something needs to happen, and I do want her sacrifice to mean something, and I don't even want them to go to the Soul Realm and like save Black Widow, even though I want Hulk to have a happy ending like Steve got one.
Yeah. He's got Betty. Go back to Betty.
I would love for Liv Tyler to come back. No joke. Like, and for him to kind of deal with that, because she was dusted. Yeah, she was official according to the Russos. Like, she was somebody who was dusted. They listed a couple, like Sif was dusted, like Galaga guy. They're jokes. Some of them were jokes, but like you could have Betty.
I want another Hulk movie with Mark Ruffalo, because his performance. This movie reminded me of how much I like his performance as that character, and especially with you mentioned She-Hulk and some of that. I think honestly, I'm going to throw this out there. That's my Disney Plus series. I want them to do a modern day. Well, I want them to do a modern day version of that Lou Ferrigno Hulk movie where it's him and Daredevil. It's the trial of the Hulk. We bring Charlie Cox back as Daredevil.
Jennifer Walters.
And Jennifer Walters as either Hulk's defense, or maybe she's the prosecuting attorney, and you have that all drama. Give me that,
and then
please.
We learn that Hulk's being framed because it was actually Red Hulk. Ross, you son of a gun.
Boom. Who was at
Thaddeus.
Who was at Iron Man's funeral, along with that's one of the things I'm like, I honestly don't know how you shot this.
Yeah.
If you know, because I can guarantee you those
CG.
people were not there, and that you had to
CG.
composite them in there.
Yeah. Pretty good compositing.
Yeah.
We don't notice it as much because the camera's moving. So it's like, okay.
There's a couple moments, I noticed it more in Infinity War, but there are a couple moments in this movie where it's like, there's a lot going on in this movie. Not everything gets the same amount of money. But that one, I was like, this is actually really impressive.
Yeah. Yeah.
I got a question here from Cam Senses, and I think this is a good way to end going forward for Phase 4. Do you think they're setting up a Young Avengers movie? We have Cassie, who's older now. We have Peter and Miles in universe. Kate Bishop is coming. Shuri and Nova in universe because of Xandar. Maybe you could do like a last Nova, being that the rest of them have been wiped out, so you could get Sam Alexander with a powered helmet. That's why it's like he's special. He was what the Nova were supposed to be. We were working our way towards it. John C. Reilly is like version 1. Yeah. Nova, Sam Alexander is like version 20.
I also don't think it's a mistake talking about the Nova stuff. I also don't think it's a mistake that we didn't see. You needed to cut something, but we didn't see what happened on Xandar. Sure. And it seems like a perfect opening to a Nova movie. Seeing all the other Novas get nuked by Thanos, and then the one helmet leaves. It's classic Green Lantern shit. And then the one leaves, and then Sam finds it.
That would be amazing, especially if they brought back Glenn Close.
Yes.
And now my mind is racing. Like, where she sets up some kind of like last ditch Hail Mary that the Nova Corps has, where this helmet goes and gets sent off. I'd also love it, if Sam Alexander's dad was the first human, or even Richard Rider. Yeah. But like,
we can homage Richard Rider. He can show up as a mentor or something.
For sure. But I feel like the best case would be to have Sam be the sort of lead character and the focus.
Is Sam Latino?
Yeah, he is.
Good.
He's
basically
Mexican, half
Jaime Reyes,
white.
Blue Beetle.
Yeah. Exactly. Also in Carefree, Arizona is where Sam is.
Great.
Right?
Nice.
Yeah. Whereas Blue Beetle is also Arizona, or is he New Mexico?
El Paso,
Texas. That's right. Yeah. Pretty close. Pretty close. So it's like, Marvel, if you want to not be seen as copying Blue Beetle, get on that.
Yeah.
Get on that Nova.
And also, like, in his origin, I remember like Carol Danvers isn't Rocket and Carol, aren't they the ones that come in like find
Rocket
him as
and Gamora.
Gamora, that's who it is. And it's like, but if you want to do Carol's like, we do need more police. That's
seriously, it's only me, and it's kind of stressing me out.
Yeah, she's like, everyone's like, why weren't you on Earth? It's like, there's no one else anymore. I am doing so much. No wonder my hair. I didn't get my hair cut. It's falling out.
That's a great justification. That's great. Yeah, is to answer. I love that the movie did that, to answer those questions that like fans would have, and then to have other characters in the movie acknowledge it. For Rhodey to be like, all right, and even Rocket be like, okay, that's a good point. Yeah, I guess that's a good point. Where were you? Can get another haircut? That's a good point. Yeah,
I do think they're 100% setting up Young Justice now that Ant-Man's daughter is like, what, 25? In the 5 years that happened.
The actress is 17.
Yeah,
she looks older. And the girl, and young Cassie was 10.
Okay,
so there's not that big of a.
So she's supposed to be 15.
Yeah,
she looks 25. She looks like a full adult person. But I don't. I would be very excited for a Young Avengers team. I think that'd be really cool. You could even call them New Warriors if you want. Just throwing that out there.
To answer the question, yes, I think it's all of that stuff is not a coincidence. It's what we've been saying. Like that's all a possibility. So yeah.
Hector, do you think, we talked a little bit about this before the show, do you think they're going to do another, once Spider-Man, because they said no announcements until Spider-Man Far From Home. Yeah. Do you think they'll do another full slate situation? Or do you think,
I don't know.
Because I've seen interviews, Kevin Feige's like, that kind of backed me in a corner. I kind of wish I didn't do that.
Really?
So I'm wondering
Inhumans, everyone was like, we got to give them shit for not making Inhumans. We saw what they did. It didn't work. You can come back to, Inhumans can work.
Yes.
But let's wait. Let's wait a little bit.
Press pause on that one.
They do such a good job of hiding their mistakes.
but do you think they'll do another line-wide,
That's
like Phase 4 is going to look like this?
That's a great question. I think that we'll see a version of it. I think we'll see announcements, and the best way to do it would be, I hope it's not D23, maybe Comic-Con would be mind-blowing. But for stuff that is for sure, that they know for sure is in the can. Yeah. Whether it's like, because they got stuff in pre-pro right now. It's Black Widow, Shang-Chi, and we don't know else.
Doctor Strange 2.
Eternals. With
so
Angelina Jolie and Kumail Nanjiani. It's a weird cast of people.
Yeah.
I've also heard that they might include Hercules in that movie, and I'd be way on board with that.
So like those 4 at least, plus Guardians 3, but they know it needs to happen after James Gunn's done with Suicide Squad. I think we'll see like an official, like, here's the release dates. Here's what we've got planned so far. Now it might change, but here's what we got. I think it would get a lot of people hyped. Maybe it doesn't have to be all of Phase 4, but like maybe at least for like, because what's coming out next year, 2020?
We don't know.
We don't know.
Yeah, we don't know.
But they have release dates locked in. Yeah. And they're either about to film or have been filming, and we don't even know. Yeah. But I have a feeling that they haven't filmed anything. So maybe like one movie will come out at the end of 2020. We'll replace the Star Wars slot. I don't know.
Of the movies that we know they're working on, which one excites you the most?
That's a great question. Man,
I'm gonna ask you the same question, Sam.
Let's go through those again. We had Doctor Strange,
Black Widow,
Shang-Chi.
There's definitely a Black Panther 2.
Black Panther 2, of course, it made $1 billion. Yeah. And
you're gonna get a Captain. You have to get a Captain Marvel too.
Honestly, if I'm being totally honest, it's Guardians 3. Because I have over the past few months realized how invested in those 2 movies I am and those characters. I have realized, like, on rewatching everything, I'm like, yeah, stuff like the first Thor, it goes lower for me. Not as, I'm like, you know what? That's a little rough around the edges. But rewatching the first and second Guardians, I'm like, I love these films.
Agreed.
They have shot up to way higher in my ranking. The characters have shot up to way higher in my favorites. Versus me thinking like, I love Avengers and Captain America and Iron Man. I'm like, no. My stuff is, I think Guardians, is some of their strongest stuff. So Guardians 3, especially with James Gunn being rehired, I just want to see how that's going to finish out. Yeah. And I think it has the best chance of being like the best. Everything else is kind of risky business, which is cool. And that's Marvel's MO. And of course, Shang-Chi, because I want, I get representation. I want them to do also, like a great Asian character.
Guardians might have Thor now, which would be really fun.
Yeah, super cool. That was, I think, one of my favorite jokes from the movie is we all know who's in charge, and it's just, of course we do. You just understand how this relationship's going to be so. I think it's a better argument. It's a better combative relationship than Rocket and Peter for me. Even though that was fun for me to watch, this is like,
well, Rocket matured, so it can't be him.
Yeah. Or he'll be secretly just running it while they fight.
Gets one of my favorite jokes in the movie. It's like, I lost my entire family. I lost Quill. I lost Gamora, the one with the antenna.
Yeah. It helps people. Yeah, it helps the normies.
So what about you? What are you most excited for?
Shang-Chi's up there because I want to see hand-to-hand combat. I think it was really cool that we got to see the Russos finally do like a sword fight in this, and it was single take.
Also, Cap vs. Cap was cool.
Cap vs. Cap was really cool as a great way to hide it. The old one has the helmet on. Just gotta get a white guy that can fight.
Another good joke. I could do this. I know.
Yeah, I know you can.
I know.
Yeah, he's tired. Yeah. This Cap curses more. He doesn't care about language. He is done. He's tired. Yeah. He's been through it. Shang-Chi, because I want to see that hand-to-hand action. Iron Fist whiffed it hard. They whiffed it real hard.
Yeah.
We had Daredevil though.
We had Daredevil. And Shang-Chi just you can open the door to a lot of cool, like a lot more magic. You can have like a Doctor Strange team up, which would be awesome. Yeah. As well as you could tie in a lot of the lower tier, or sorry, not lower tier, street level Avenger characters. Yeah. Like Echo would be a really cool foil for him because it's just someone who can mimic. She has no discernible skills as far as we know. She can be a spy. She can be quiet. But besides that, she just needs to watch you and she can copy you. That's scary. And that's cool to have on your team. Echo's I like Echo. She never gets her due. Like she's never given her own comic or anything like that. I don't care. And also pop up new teams. Eternal sounds cool because a lot of people were like, it could be a backdoor X-Men that we just don't know about like right now. That was a fun pitch that I heard. But also
they're saying Eternals, but what they mean is X-Men.
Yeah,
that's fine.
I don't think that's gonna happen.
I don't think so either. I think it's Eternals because I think they're gonna do, because like in the most recent Avengers No Roads Home story, they wiped out the Greek pantheon, and now in Jason Aaron's run, they wiped out the Eternals, and so now they're being reborn, and Hercules is now a celestial being, basically.
And so they're laying the groundwork. It's just like when in that Jonathan Hickman's Infinity Cross, where it was right after Avengers, like, Thanos has these henchmen now. It's like, that's 100% for whatever movie he shows up in.
But that's so cool because it's like, no. There's pantheons, but they all kind of branch back to the Eternals, and that's why Thanos was so hard for you to fight because he was one of them.
And that could be a cool thing too if there's a whole race of Thanoses. It's like, oh geez.
And it's he was the deviant that was a little bit more powerful than us, but we're still basically gods.
Well, the Eternals, isn't that like Icarus and like and like Makari or whatever, like Cersei, all those characters. It's not Thanos and Star Fox, right?
Star Fox is one. Star Fox is a.
I think Thanos is supposed to be a deviant.
Here's my take on it. Josh Brolin played Thanos. So you go to Goonies. You know who was Josh Brolin's brother? Who?
Oh, please.
Sean Astin as Eros, aka Star Fox, would be amazing because Star Fox in the comics is a creepy creep. Like he's like inappropriate. Like he would I think he had like sexual harassment lawsuit, or he like did gross shit in the comics. So make him Sean Astin instantly lovable, 100%. 100%.
You can fix that real quick. It's like making Hank Pym's just in the back. I went a little crazy when I used the Pym particles.
Yeah.
we've totally ditched that storyline now.
The one I'm most excited about, it has to be Black Panther 2, but of the more concrete things that we know, Black Widow, just because it's about time for crying out loud.
Super excited. This is the longest podcast I think we've ever done, and I don't care because it's been wonderful.
Just like Endgame, does not feel like 3 hours.
Doesn't feel like it flew right by. And gang, we hope you enjoy it. Share it around with your friends, and make sure you're following Hector everywhere that matters. It's just Hector Navarro on Twitter, Instagram, and
That's actually incorrect. It's at Hector is funny.
You're welcome.
But thank you so much. But thank you so much.
You know
thank
what?
You so
a
much.
good Google search goes a long way. And also go to the L Raid network in your local listings. And
thanks.
I was going to say sign up. I don't know how TVs work. But Hector, where can they find you?
You're a young boy. We've established that.
I should have just asked, where can they find you?
It's okay. That's all right. That's all right. Maggie Whitmer, I agree with that comment. My fitness goal right now is to lose weight faster than Thor. By the next time we see Thor in a movie, I will hopefully have also been shredded, because like that's now I'm like, it might be 3 years. Okay, cool. Plenty of time.
Plenty of time.
Get some abs. All right, I'm on it.
You can do it. But yes, make sure you're following Hector everywhere that matters. DJ, where can they find you?
At DJ Talks Trash, and be sure to check out Might Be Awesome on YouTube. We're doing some fun stuff over there. Sam, what about you?
At Sam Basher, yes, Might Be Awesome. There is an explainer coming out soon that talks about Pokemon, and it's super cool, and we're really excited, and it deals with like Detective Pikachu, and it was the most fun research I've ever gotten to do, because Pokemon's so dumb, but it's the best. It's so good.
It's insane. It's crazy.
I had to do a lot of research about insurance and Pokemon. That's all I'll say. You guys are in for a real treat, because the animation that's being worked on for it is awesome. So make sure you're subscribed over there and watch our Avengers review, because it's got like 70,000+ views, which is super cool. So we want to get that up to an even 100. Can we do that, please? But
please, and thank you.
Make sure you share, rate, and subscribe. That's stuff you do on podcasts, and I've heard other people say it, so please do it. And until next time, stay hydrated. Goodbye.